Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well on this Wednesday. And in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Seahawks on defense. I want to go a little bit deeper into the defense over here. I want to talk about how they're doing, how we should perceive them, how we should take a season like this, how we should filter these results that we're seeing, and basically put some claims up to scrutiny because that's what I like to do on this channel. I like to push back on popular narratives that I don't think actually hold up to scrutiny, and we have a big one here today in this video. It, of course, concerns the Seahawks defense, like I said, and a few weeks ago, I made a video talking about the Seahawks defense and the widely held belief that the Seahawks defense was bad because the offense hung them out to dry, which, if you go back and look at that video, I pretty thoroughly debunked that belief, that theory. The link between the defense playing bad and the offense hanging them out to dry was very thin, barely even existed, and in almost all cases, the defense dug their own grave. So now I want to take a look at another, I'm going to call it an excuse that Seahawks fans try to use to dismiss how bad our defense has been this year. This one is age related. They say, well, the defense is really young. The defense has too many young players, too many rookies, too many sophomores, too many guys with no NFL experience or little NFL experience. So that's why things are so bad. That tends to be the go-to excuse number two. And I'm probably going to have to do a couple more videos after this one to talk our way through these narratives that get said so much. You would think they actually have some basis in fact, but just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't mean it's actually the case. So, in the case of this Seahawks defense, no, they're not bad just because of the offense being bad. They're bad because they're bad. So, let's go to the next level and say, okay, they're bad. Why are they actually bad? And some people would say, like I said, they're young, inexperienced basically. Young players that haven't peaked, young players that don't have NFL experience, and you get what you get. That's why we currently have, as of right now, as of the recording of this video, the 24th ranked defense in the league by points per game. So they might move up a little bit or they might move down a little bit in this final game this Sunday, but they are landing in an area that makes them among the worst defenses in Carroll's tenure as a Seahawks coach. So no matter how you slice it, this is one of the worst defenses he's ever put together. So let's dissect this whole age argument. And what I've done here is, well, okay, actually, let's start here. I've taken the snap counts. I've sorted every Seahawks defensive player by number of snaps on the defense. So basically, the guys at the top are the guys who play the most, and then we descend from there. And I want to take a look at these players and their ages. I want to take a look and see, are we actually giving a massive number of our snaps this year to young, inexperienced players? All right, so right off the bat, we see a big problem. Our number one snap getter this year has been Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner. Is Bobby Wagner some young, inexperienced player? He's 33 years old. He's 33 years old. He's been in this league over a decade. This is year number 12. There is no universe where Bobby Wagner can be considered some young, inexperienced player. He is the exact opposite of a young and inexperienced player. So that doesn't fly right off the bat. Second place is Quandre Diggs. Quandre Diggs might be near the end of his NFL career, if anything. He's 30 years old, and if he gets cut by the Seahawks this offseason and can't find work, I would not be surprised. But even if he does find work, even if he does go on to have a few more years left in his career, that doesn't change the fact that he's been in the league quite some time. He's been on this team since 2019. He was on the Lions for several years before that. This is an NFL veteran. And I can pretty much guarantee you he is closer to the end of his NFL career than he is to the beginning of it. So that's another guy heavily featured on this defense who gets a massive number of snaps. Third place would be Rico. This would be one of the guys on the defense who is young and relatively inexperienced. 24 years old. This is his second year in the league. All right, so there's one. Next up, we have Julian Love, safety, 870 snaps, one of the most prolific players on this defense. Is he young? Not really. He's 25. That's not old, but Julian Love, this is his fifth year in the league. There's no universe where he's inexperienced. He played a ton for the Giants over the first 4 years of his career. This is his fifth year. He might actually be closer to the end of his career than the beginning of his career at this point. He might be more than halfway through. But even though he is somewhat young, he's definitely a veteran. So that one doesn't really fly either. Okay, next on the snap list would be Devin Witherspoon. That's definitely an example of one. He's young at 23 years old. This is his rookie year. So, all right, that's a young guy we're giving some snaps to. All right, let's continue to pump through, though, because this is only going to continue to weaken the argument. Jarran Reed. Jarran Reed, the opposite of a young, inexperienced player. Jarran Reed, let's take a look. 31 years old. We drafted this guy in 2016. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 8th year in the NFL. He might not have a career past his current contract. Like, this contract expires in 2024. After 2024, rolls over to 2025. Is Jarran Reed guaranteed to continue his career at that point? I don't think so. No diss to Jarran Reed. He's been awesome this year, but you get to a certain age as a defensive lineman, the gas just runs out and you just decide you'd rather retire. He is close to the end of his career, much closer to it than he is to the beginning of his career. So that's your number one snap getter on the defensive line, an older player. Next up would be Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks, he's kind of sort of young, 26. He's not old, but 26 is like your prime in the NFL. And he's been in the league since 2020. 2020, 2021, 2022. This is his fourth year in the NFL. This is year number 4 for Jordan Brooks. He is not some young inexperienced player anymore. So, again, it's not flying. This is one of the younger players on the team, by the way, and he's a 4-year veteran. We're at the point where I think it's very reasonable to say, especially because you have to consider he's played so much in the first few years of his career. People are looking to him as one of the veterans on this team, if any. One of the, maybe not the veteran, but one of many veterans on this team. People are looking at him as a guy who's been here a while and has really kind of built credibility within this organization. So, not a young player. Okay, next up is Boye Mafe. There's an example of a young player, 25. 25 is not young, but it's his second year in the NFL. I can cut him a little bit of slack here. I can say that, yeah, okay, that's a younger, inexperienced player who's just now coming into his own, although I would point out that he's broken out this year and he's playing really good, so I don't see where that youth and inexperience is really hurting him. What's he doing that he wouldn't be doing if he had more experience under his belt? I don't know. He's playing really good football. Maybe he can go up a little bit from here, but I think it's a folly to say, oh, the defense is bad because Boye Mafe is young and inexperienced. Like, that doesn't really even hold water to me, as much as he is a relatively inexperienced player in the NFL. Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones is on his second contract. He's not on some rookie deal anymore. He's only 26, but he was in Denver for 4 seasons before he came to Seattle. This is his 5th year. We can't consider these guys young anymore. These guys, a lot of these guys will not have much of a career past 30. So even at 26, you're more than halfway through your career. So I'm not really seeing it there either. You've got Trey Brown. He's kind of sort of young at 26. This is what, his 3rd year in the league. He kind of missed his 2nd year. So I don't buy the fact that he's not doing something that he should be doing because, oh, he's inexperienced and young. No, he's kind of doing what he's going to do as Trey Brown. This is his thing. This is probably more or less who he is at this point. Or if not, pretty close. Like, again, it's not like Trey Brown's out there playing bad and we're watching him play and we're like, oh, well, give him 2 years and he'll be awesome, but right now he's just not ready. That's a statement reserved for a guy like a Derek Hall. Like, yeah, Derek Hall is clearly not ready for this, and hopefully he will be ready, by the time we get to next season and this season after, but that's just one example. Jamal Adams. I mean, Jamal Adams is 28 years old. He's got the body of a 48-year-old, if we're being real here. And there's no universe where you can consider him young and inexperienced. He played for years for the Jets, and he's played for years with the Seahawks. So there's no youth there. Nothing going on there. That's a veteran player at this point, 100%. Darrell Taylor. This is what? Darrell Taylor's, even if you want to wipe out 2020 completely, this is his third year. Really, it's his fourth year. He's 26 years old anyway. That's not that young. And at this point, we can't be looking at him as just some young guy with potential that he needs to crack. I mean, at this point, he really is what he is. I think it's very dangerous to assume that Darrell Taylor is going to get so much better than he is right now. He's probably about capped out, and I don't think he's going to get much better. So I'm not buying it there. Leonard Williams, a veteran. Mike Jackson, at this point, he's kind of a veteran, veteran-ish. Mario Edwards, totally a veteran. And then we get to Derek Hall. That's like the first guy we've really gotten to on this list, except for maybe Woolen, who I look at and go, yeah, that guy's having problems related to his inexperience. He's going to need time to get better. Because honestly, even a guy like Witherspoon, he's playing so good, it's not like his youth and inexperience is really costing us that much. So even there, even with a guy who is objectively young and inexperienced, the argument rings hollow. So this is not some young team that has a right to trip all over themselves and underachieve and mess around a bunch, and it's okay because, well, we'll be better next year because everybody's going to be a year more experienced. No, this defense is chock full of experienced veterans. So, another theory debunked. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you see it another way, but I don't know any other way to see it. I got to be honest. See you guys later. Go Hawks.